Morning, how are you? Wonderful. I'll just be, I will be just sharing a little bit of my knowledge about the law of persons. Actually, I have this book over here. See right over there, it's written the South African Law of Persons. It's the Law of Persons. It's a book that is written by Jacqueline Heaton, who had completed his LLB in Pretoria and later completed the LLM at the University of South Africa. Jacqueline Heaton is now a professor at the University of South Africa. Now this book, it comprises quite a number of chapters. It's 11 chapters. It's actually a fifth edition. Now we're going to go through those chapters. Chapter number 1 is just the introduction of law of persons, and then after that they deal with the law and rights, obviously, because law of persons comprises a number of laws and rights about the natural persons and juristic persons, and then they speak a lot at length about legal capacity and capacity to act, capacity to litigate, and all those things. But if you go to 1.3 in this book, you find out the issue around legal subject and legal object is dealt with at length, and corporeal things, performance, personal property, intellectual property, and then the different kinds of legal subjects, which is your natural person and juristic person. In South African law, all human beings are recognized as natural persons, because they have what we call because they are often perceived as legal subjects, regardless of, for example, their age or intellectual or physical ability. Therefore, every human being can have rights, duties, and capacity, although the content of these rights, duties, and capacities may vary depending on factors such as the person's mental capacity and age. To distinguish them from other legal subjects, humans are known as natural persons, and then your juristic persons are referred to as the human being or natural person is not the only legal subject recognized by South African law. The demands of the legal order necessitate that legal personality also be bestowed on certain associations of natural persons, apart from the individual human beings who make up such an association, each of whom is, of course, a legal subject. A new legal subject comes into being, namely the association itself. Such an association to which legal personality is granted is called a juristic person or artificial person, right? And then we deal with an issue of the beginning of the legal personality and the end of the legal personality. Obviously, legal personality begins at birth and then is terminated by the death of the natural person. And then there will be a number of issues and registration of births and deaths, and the interests of unborn babies and the succession, what you call, also deal with the issue of maintenance after birth, dependence action for loss of support, prenatal injuries, guardianship and care, termination of pregnancy, natural, what you call, the law person deals with a whole lot of issues around human beings. And then we jump into the end of legal capacity, where I've already pointed out that it can only be terminated by death. Therefore, dead people have neither rights nor obligation. Nevertheless, the law protects the deceased body and regulates its disposal. This is done because of community interests, such as public health, respect for the feelings and sensibilities of the deceased relatives, and respect for the dead. And then obviously the proof of death would be required for somebody to be acknowledged as dead. And then what is called presumption of death. If somebody disappears, if for example a person disappears and there is no certainty as to whether he or she is dead or is still alive, presumption of death can be pronounced in terms of common law and in certain instances in terms of statute. And then also deal with a lot of issues here, registration of deaths, the duty to bury the deceased, and then the status. Actually, the word status is derived from the Latin word. Status, the Latin word in English, when translated in English, it means standing. You're standing in the society, and you're standing as a human being, whether or not you have legal capacity. Legal capacity is the capacity to have rights and duties. All human beings have this capacity, irrespective of their personal qualities. And then capacity to act refers to the capacity to perform valid juristic acts. Are you able to perform valid juristic acts? And then we also deal with the capacity to litigate. The capacity to appear in court as part to a lawsuit. And then capacity to be held accountable for crimes and deeds. And then domicile, dealing with the issue of domicile, when the person is domiciled and all those things. Domicile will also speak to, because there's a whole number of kinds of domicile. You get domicile of origin. Oftentimes, domicile of origin, for example, a person's domicile of origin, also called the person's original domicile, is the domicile the law confers on the person at birth. In the past, person's domicile of origin revived if he or she abandoned his or her domicile of choice without assuming a new domicile. And then you have domicile of choice, and then chapter 5, children born of unmarried parents, and also different types of children. You have what you call the natural children. Natural children are children that are born of parents who, though not married to each other at the time of the child's conception or birth, or at any intervening time, could validly have married each other. And then adulterine children. So that one is quite obvious. In the case of adulterine child, one or both of the child's parents were married to someone else or were parties to a civil union with somebody else at this time of the child's conception. And then incestuous children, children are born of parents who could not have married each other or could not have entered into a civil union with each other at the time of child's conception because they were too closely related. When people commit what we call incest, which results in birth. And then we have your artificial fertilization, surrogacy, and then what we call the proof of parentage. It's a whole lot of issues. The law of person deals with a number of issues. Now, for example, if you go to chapter 6. Right, almost there. It's a minority, the beginning of minority, the end of minority. For example, to speak of minority is one of the most important factors influencing a person's status. The legal view is that because people's jurisdiction acts are dependent on their expression of will, only persons who have a reasonable understanding and judgment should have capacity to act. Generally, a person acquires full capacity to participate in legal interaction of his or her 18th birthday. However, several earlier ages are of legal importance. For example, children below the age of 7, that is infants, have no capacity to act, while minors between the ages of 7 and 18 years have limited capacity to act, which means that they can, as a rule, only enter into contracts with the assistance of their guardians. Once children have 10, 12 years of age, they may independently buy condoms and receive free condoms on request, and they may be provided with other contraceptives if they request this, receive proper medical advice, and undergo medical examination to determine whether there are any medical reasons why a specific contraceptive should not be provided. As from the age of 14 years, minors may witness a will, and once they have 10, 16, they may take a will. These examples and the other rules or minors' capacities are set out in more detail below in this chapter. So, and then what we call also go through the children's rights according to section 28 of the Constitution. For example, if I can just touch on a few things, a child has a right to a name and nationality from birth, to family or parental care, to basic nutrition, shelter, basic health care, and social services, to be protected from maltreatment, neglect, abuse, and degradation, to be protected from exploitative labor practices, not to be required or permitted to perform work or provide services that are inappropriate for someone of his or her age, to have a legal practitioner assigned to him or her, not to be used directly in armed conflict, or to be protected in times of armed conflict. And then also we deal with a whole lot of issues pertaining to this. And for example, we also deal with the termination of minority. When does minority end? And all those things. Thus, for example, if a person who was below the age of 21 years obtained a claim before 1st July 2007, he or she is treated as a minor for the purposes of establishment whether extinctive prescription has taken place in respect of the claim, despite the fact that the Children's Act lowered the age of majority. Then we also the emancipation, whereby the child gets emancipation to do certain things. And then chapter 7, the mental illness as a human being, and then whereby, for example, if a person is mentally ill, legal status of mental illness, whereby now this person will be appointed, provided with a curator to act on his behalf when doing certain things. And then we do the inability to administer affairs owing to reasons other than mental illness, because there are certain reasons or issues that might cause a person to be unable to administer certain affairs. For example, the issue of alcoholism. The issue of alcoholism is also one of the issues. For example, influence of alcohol and drugs, as in the case of mental or physical incapacity. Intoxication can affect a person's legal status. Prodigality. Prodigality are persons with normal mental ability to squander their assets in an irresponsible and reckless way due to some defect in their power of judgment. And then, because of that, their legal capacity to act and capacity to litigate is somehow affected. And then, but when it comes to the issue of capacity to be held accountable for crimes and deeds, prodigality and an order interdicting the prodigal from administering his or her estate do not affect the prodigal's capacity to be held accountable for crimes and deeds he or she commits. Therefore, the prodigals will be held reliable for their crimes and deeds. And then lastly, chapter 11 speaks of insolvency. The insolvent, for example, oftentimes a person is insolvent when his or her liability exceed his or her assets, when he or she has more debts than assets. You understand? Those are insolvent, that accumulate lots of debts, and as a result, their assets get sequestrated until such a debt is paid in full. And because of those devastation, then the person will end up be in a position whereby the legal capacity to act, capacity to litigate becomes questionable. And we also deal with the issue of the capacity to be held accountable for crimes and deeds. Insolvency does not affect the insolvent's capacity to be held accountable for crimes and deeds. However, if the insolvent commits a delit after sequestration, so that's the main point. The same as with prodigal are still held accountable for their crimes and deeds. Similarly, the insolvent are also held responsible for their crimes, not unless the insolvent commits a delit after sequestration. In other words, after their property was taken away from them until such asset or debt is paid up. And then the compensation must be paid out to those assets the insolvent acquired after sequestration that fall outside the insolvent estate. Then lastly, we also deal with the issue of rehabilitation of the insolvent. And the legal limitation sequestration places on the capacity of an insolvent person come to an end when he or she is rehabilitated by an order. So in other words, once the insolvent is fully rehabilitated by an order of the High Court, the capacity of an insolvent person come to an end. Is no longer capacitated, or once 10 years have elapsed since the sequestration, rehabilitation also discharges all debts to insolvent Mkwedi.